What's up, guys? Episode six.
Six?
Yep. Caffeine, carbs, and kilos. Me and Skylar again today. I don't know. Let's just get into it, I guess. What have you been up to?
Gosh, really just kind of prepping for Canada that I'm about to go to. Leaving on Tuesday for that little fishing trip, and really just kind of chilling and trying to get my body ready for track. Ready to be an athlete again.
How's that gonna feel? Is it gonna hurt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will. I've already I'm just slowly easing into it, just quick 30-minute workouts or just be on the bike for 15, 20 minutes, just getting my body used to that again. And I'm so out of shape. It's not even funny.
You going on walks, runs, or anything else too?
Not really. I don't know. It's just been so hot. I just don't really care to, but I probably should.
It's very. It probably also helps that when you practice, you're usually indoors.
Yeah.
So it's never.
I would say mainly because off season is indoors, and then you have the indoor season, and then outdoor season is only a few months. So
yeah,
mainly indoors. Yeah.
Same outdoor season's what, in the spring?
Yeah.
So it's not even horribly hot.
February.
Yeah. So you're doing even better anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I would say we're getting into that Nebraska summer now. It's getting humid.
Yeah.
I stepped out of my apartment, and I always keep my apartment at 65. And so even in the hallway, I opened the door, I stepped outside, and I'm like,
same.
It is humid.
We keep ours at 67 as well, pretty low, and you open that in the hallway, it's oof.
Yeah. I was saying I've been trying to butt mine up slowly so I can get more used to a 68, because 65 takes a toll on the air conditioner.
Definitely.
But
that'll run you some money.
I just can't do it. I feel better when I'm cold.
Same.
And I don't get cold often, but at the same time, it's also really cozy to just have a blanket on when you're sitting on the couch. Yeah.
Rather be cold than hot, for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Meanwhile, my fiance is the opposite.
Yeah.
She likes to sleep cold so she can pull blankets around her, but at the same time, she hates being cold. She's always cold.
Yeah. My girlfriend always likes to sleep in the cold, and she'll basically put it at 65, which for me is really cold. And I'm just sleeping in shorts or whatever, but she sleeps in a full hoodie and shorts. And I'm like, well, that's why you're hot.
Yeah.
Because you're wearing a hoodie.
No kidding. I would say my fiance will just usually do t-shirt and shorts, but I usually do a little bit less regardless of the time of the year. And then even still, sometimes if it's cold, I'll have to kick my leg out of the blanket.
Yeah. I mean, same. That's a go-to. I like the winter when I could just crack the window open a little bit, get some fresh air in there.
Yeah, that's fair. For some reason, winter air always feels crisper.
Yeah.
Feels nice.
A little sharp.
Yeah. I said, unless you're trying to run. I remember when I used to try and run in the winters, that first cold run, your lungs and chest would just hurt.
Oh, you're immediately sick the next day, for sure.
Yeah. And the worst part was just every time you tried to breathe, it felt like you were breathing through needles going down your throat. Yeah.
Yep.
Sucked.
In there.
Now we're the complete opposite. Now it's pretty freaking warm outside. Yeah. I guess I got a couple things I want to talk about. First things first, I started messing. I hadn't yet. I started messing around with ChatGPT the other day.
Yeah.
I hadn't done that yet, but it's wild.
It's amazing.
It's really weird.
One of my teachers for my capstone class last semester had us use ChatGPT for one of our assignments. She wanted us to use it just to practice with it because she could tell that it's going to be kind of the next up and coming thing. And I think it should be allowed in classrooms just because I think it can be used as a tool just to get started.
Mm-hmm.
There's still mistakes. If you had it write a whole paper, there's going to be stuff in there. There's going to be no citations. There's going to be stuff in there that doesn't sound right. You still have to be a writer, but it'll at least give you a start and an idea.
Yeah, and that's always helpful too, because it's easier than Googling something and thumbing through articles and articles and pages and pages 100%. When I can almost just ask them and they can do it for you. A friend of mine, he was given the commencement speech at UNK, and he was curious. He just went to ChatGPT and typed in, write me a commencement speech. And then he did another one that said, write me a commencement speech, add humor. And it was like, it was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Hilarious.
pretty much dead on what most, scripted commencement speeches are.
Right.
It was really funny. Biggest thing I was playing with, a friend of mine here at the gym, he messaged me and he said, dude, I was messing around on ChatGPT and I just asked it to write me like a basic nutrition plan. Or what did he do first? He did nutrition plan. I think he also did the training plan first.
Oh, really?
And he said, like, yeah, I want to train 4 days a week, prioritize squat, bench, and deadlift, and added a couple of like specific details, and it gave him like a whole like week breakdown just to follow. And then, I mean, it always says at the end, slowly progress weight through the weeks, and don't take this for pure advice.
Awesome.
Talk to a doctor or something like that. But like, it's when you're looking at it and comparing, like, so for me, when I first started training, I was just writing kind of my own stuff on my notes every week, and just kind of what I knew worked, and just kind of having fun with it. And it took everything that like I had just kind of messed around with for years, and everything now that I've read online, and like it just combines it into one.
So good.
It was super. Yeah, it was because he sent me what he wrote in and what it said, and then I did the same thing, and just changed it up a little bit to like fit something like my needs, and it was ridiculous.
Well, you can be so specific.
Yeah.
Like, you could go into detail, and it'll still give you a response. Then what's nice is like after you already have a response, you can add more to that if it's not quite what you wanted.
Yeah, I'll say it. And when I was talking about like that nutrition thing that he had also done, with the detail, he literally typed in his height, his weight, his age, body fat percentage, how many meals he wanted to eat in the day, and like total calories, and like, I don't think he put macros, I did, but like total calories and a couple other like minor details, and it literally gave him a whole day planned out with like 2 different options for each meal. And then I did it for mine, prioritizing like 4 to 5 meals a day, prioritizing macros at the specific amount I wanted, total calories, as well as like saying I was lactose intolerant, and it spit out the whole thing.
Jeez.
And with more options, for every meal too.
That's insane.
I agree.
So are you gonna use it?
No, I might later on. I was mainly just curious, but I'm still trying to figure it out myself before I start relying on something else.
Right.
But yeah, it was eye opening to say the least. So I just hadn't played with it yet, and I'd heard plenty of other people being on it, and like I'd heard jokes and shit. Like people wrote an essay on ChatGPT and they got a 0 in their class or on that assignment, and I just hadn't messed with it. And then the other night I was bored because my fiance works 2 to 11 p.m. now, so I'm just sitting up late or something like that, and I said, let's just after my friend texted me, I said, just create an account and see what I can find out. It was really weird.
So cool because it's like it's free. Like you don't even really need to pay for it, and having access to that, so nice.
Yeah. I was saying, speaking of AI, I really wish that you could get rid of the Snapchat AI. That thing's pissing me off. It's just pinned to the top, and you can't unpin it.
That's brutal. I don't have Snapchat, but I've used that before because I think I messed around on yours when you gave it to me one time. That thing's crazy.
Yeah, it just pinned to the top, and it won't go away. I never use it, but it just stays there.
That is annoying.
Yeah, but I don't know. Enough about conspiracy on
robots.
We don't need to go into that one. I think the ChatGPT thing would be super interesting, especially if you're trying to learn more and you don't want to comb through articles and articles. Now,
100%.
For me, I enjoy reading and I enjoy learning, but at the same time, if you can have all that information maybe condensed down, if you don't have as much time, I think it'd be, I don't know, super cool.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it could be a tool. I mean, there's research that's been done too that even like Wikipedia, it doesn't really have accurate information, but some teachers say that's a good place to start just to get ideas on what's out there, and then you can go fact check it on other sources. But
I was saying it was always a struggle in like high school when teachers said you can't use Wikipedia when you search something, especially somewhat history related at all, there's always a Wikipedia page that comes up first.
Yeah.
it's really tough not to, because I mean, some information may not be correct, but at the same time, a lot of it
I would say a
is.
majority of it is.
Um,
Yeah, it's just hard. I mean, everything you need to show proof these days, and so that's why with ChatGPT, if you're writing a research paper, you can't because there's going to be no citations, no cited work or anything. So,
mhm.
yeah,
Well, speaking of like the nutrition on the Chat GPT stuff, I'm still cutting from my meat.
right.
When you start, it's really difficult to maintain like integrity throughout your week, and then as you get going, it's like, 'cause I got home yesterday. It was a long day, because I had to have someone come in and work for me yesterday, 10 to 2, and I had to
Okay.
do the 2 to 8 because they had somewhere to be, and I couldn't have anyone to cover last night.
Dang.
So I did 2 to 8. And when I got home, I was on my drive home, like, what sounds really good? It's just McDonald's. But at the same time, now it's been like 6 weeks of eating the food I have at home, and it gets easier. So I guess I got there really quick. I thought I would talk a little more on that one. My bad. The point of what I was saying is, if you try and start eating healthy and you try and build a nutrition plan for yourself, it gets easier.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling those first couple weeks, just maintain integrity on it, and then by the time you get to that third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it'll start getting easier and easier. You'll crave the foods that you've been making instead, especially if you make them decently. Like last night, I just literally did a layer of rice on the bottom, add some ground beef, and then some sweet potato on top.
Yeah.
Mainly because I was training today. I need a little extra carbs. But I mean, when I got home, it just, I don't know, that sounded better than anything else did.
Well, yeah. I mean, like it's fresh stuff that you've made that you prepped. There's so many motivators. The motivator of you made it, so it just tastes better probably because you took the time to make it. The motivator of what it's gonna do for you, time, money, like it's already spent. You don't want to go spend more money. You don't have to take the time to cook it. Like there's just so many different things that could motivate you to stay on that.
Yeah.
Even though it's still hard. I've been cooking some Hello Fresh meals the past couple days. I didn't pay for them, and I've always wanted to, but to try it. But my grandpa was like had an extra box or something, so he gave it to me. I'd never done them before, and like they're just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they take like 20 to 30 minutes, and it like shows you how to prep, and you have everything, and it lists it by detail. I made like a chicken fried steak with carrots with a lemon zest and quinoa the other day.
Sounds pretty good.
So good.
So yeah, the try not to name drop. It's really difficult. The owner here, everyone knows who the owner is, but that's beside the point. The owner here, he when he's moving around, he does the HelloFresh meals quite a bit, especially when he's working on other stuff. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times they'll get confused and get sent to the gym.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't want them to sit out, so I always have to open the box and throw them in the fridge in the staff lounge. And like just seeing everything, it's literally like pre-portioned, pre-packaged. All you have to do is cook it.
Yep.
It always looked super interesting. Now, he's vegetarian, which
really?
Yeah, apparently. Well, not apparently. I've known it for a little while, but yeah. I could never personally, but like I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like I've told you before, I've tried that going vegetarian for like a couple months, and like there was definitely some benefits. I felt like more energetic, just a lot more. I kind of felt healthier because I'm putting, I guess, not necessarily better, but more natural stuff into my body.
Yeah, I think.
But it's just,
yeah. I don't know. I think another thing too is like, as much as I like red meat and I'll probably never give it up, I feel like some thoughts on red meat may have a little bit of value to them. Like cutting that out and like eating lean chicken, lean fish, and then other plant-based stuff is probably better than a lot of red meat too.
That's what I did whenever I kind of came back from being vegetarian. I went and I was like a pescatarian, so I just had fish for a little bit. And then I added the poultry and just had chicken and fish with all the veggies, and like it was great. And then like probably like 2-3 months goes by, and I decided to have red meat again, and it made me sick.
Really?
Like I was like throwing up, like it was bad. And it was just because I hadn't had it in my system for so long that like I'd kind of like gotten rid of it and not used to it. And I mean, after that day, like I had it again and I was fine. But like if you don't have red meat for that long, it can make you sick.
That's interesting too, especially because you have like you actually have you did it, so here's the actual proof. Because the more I think about it, the more like I said, I don't really want to do it. I can't. Steak and ground beef is really nice for me because I'll have it on my training days because it's really nice to have that little bit extra fat and extra sodium and all that fun stuff after you train. But I don't know. Sometimes, depending on what you eat with it, I always felt a little bloated or inflamed somewhere afterwards too. So I don't know. That's interesting.
It's very heavy. You know, you can tell that just by eating it. You know, compared to fish or the lighter meat, it's lighter. So
unfortunate because steak is delicious.
I know. I mean, I eat it all the time now, but just in that short period of time. I mean, I was like peak, like, I mean, I had just come out of high school and went to college athletics and was. Yeah. I would say that. I mean, we've talked about this before too. Like, I wouldn't say that it necessarily benefited me more to the point where I'm like, wow, I really need to go back. But I don't. It didn't harm me. I wasn't missing out on anything, I don't think.
Sure. Did you notice, like, I guess you were probably maintaining weight more than you were trying to lose it at that time, I figured, but
yeah.
Did you notice any, like, benefits on getting leaner or anything like that when you were not eating red meat?
I don't know if I could tell the difference at that time just because switching over from the high school to college training, I was putting on more weight, more muscle. Because I mean, it's just a different program there. They actually, you have your meals spread out through the day at the training table or whatever athlete stuff. So you're getting the right amount of food. So I think, I mean, yes and no, but I really don't think there was a big, like, I couldn't really tell. Like, I wasn't big enough to really like notice I was getting lean because I was trying to gain weight. I wasn't trying to. And I still have like protein shakes and stuff. I try and get my protein in different areas. But
so that's the other thing. I just saw it was a clip of another podcast, incidentally, where like this is really funny. So they're actually talking about steak instead, but they were talking about like steak versus protein shake, like which one is technically better for you.
Right.
They were talking and like they said, well, the obvious answer, of course, is that it's gonna be steak because it's
natural.
It's natural. It's an animal. It's something that we've eaten for who knows how long.
Right.
And like you should technically choose that over just a protein shake if you have that option. But he said, but at the same time, like if you're a doctor or you're a surgeon and you have only the time to drink a protein shake, and you can get similar nutrients from that protein shake that you might a steak, sometimes out of convenience and out of just sheer need, you're going to choose a protein shake. So it's
cheaper.
That too.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah. A lot more, less time consuming too.
Yeah.
I don't know a surgeon who just has like half an hour to quick whip up a steak in the on a hot plate in their office or something. Yeah. But yeah, so that was always interesting, and I'm trying to cut out less processed foods. Now, of course, before workouts, I'll still have a Rice Krispie because
as you should.
But like I've stopped myself now a couple times from grabbing protein bars or something, just because I'm like I want it, but at the same time, I don't know. It just feels processed.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, when you eat something, you're just like, yeah.
I've also gotten to the point where I started shelling out the money for avocado oil instead of like instead of like canola oil or cooking sprays and stuff like that.
Healthier.
Yeah, I mean, just I don't know, and I don't want to like go super far into it and be one of those guys like don't eat any processed foods and stuff like that because they're easy. They're gonna be there when you need them. So like if I'm traveling and I literally don't have meals, but I can buy 2 protein bars for like $5, I'm gonna buy the protein bars.
I mean, I used to have a protein bar like every day.
Yeah, and I know there's certain ones too that are better than others. Like,
What do you think about those Gatorade ones?
I've only had those a couple times. I used to do, gosh, what did I used to do? Fit Crunch. We have them here at the gym. The Fit Crunch bars are pretty good.
Yeah, those are good.
Probably the best tasting ones. Still, I mean, what else? Pure Protein I had for a while. Used to actually make them at home. Used to make protein balls just out of like oats, protein powder, peanut butter, and stuff like that. That was always super nice because then you at least felt like you were making them and they were real enough.
Yeah,
less processed. Yeah. But I will say I think my favorite recently, what's it called? Bear Bells, I think.
Huh.
You can look it up real quick. They taste super good. They have a couple of them literally have like whole nuts sitting on top of them. I don't know if you spelled it right. I don't think that's what it is. Bare.
Oh. Came up with like bear, like getting rid of bears, like bells. So Bear Bells protein.
Yeah, there you go. Have you seen those?
Oh.
I've only had a few of them, but I've heard really good things from people that actually have them pretty regularly. And there's always new ones coming out all the time.
Is it like a play on barbells? Or?
Yeah, it is. Because I think
they look pretty cool. I like kind of the old school.
And I think their whole thing with Bear is just like plain ingredients. Like they're not a bunch of additives, not a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I like their kind of like old fashioned style logo and stuff. It's cool. Huh.
But yeah,
I'll
so
look at those.
Those I've heard are pretty good too. Like I said, I've had a couple. They're pretty good. At the same time, if you ever have the chance, at our supplement sponsor Goliath, they have those protein Pop-Tarts. You can never not have one.
I have had one of those.
Yeah,
because they've been down here.
Yeah, they feel super. I don't know. They don't feel good, but they taste good.
I'm gonna encourage you to watch the Game Changers documentary on Netflix because I know you like doing research and stuff, and so this is about, I don't know if they're vegan or vegetarian, but like I've kind of told you about this before, but it's like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger towards the end of his career went vegetarian, and a bunch of other Olympians and high tier athletes who are vegetarian or vegan, and then it just has like the science behind red meat stuff. I think if anything, obviously it's not going to change what you do right now, but it'll kind of open your eyes to be like, oh, okay, that's why it may have this effect on my body.
Yeah, I was saying I've given it some thought. I'm not going to change too much on like what I do now, especially eating the meat. I don't want to affect too many things. It's going to like something that I don't know. I don't want to add another variable based on what I already know. But like, I've thought instead of ground beef every week, buying ground chicken or ground turkey. If you season it well, it'll taste a little different. But if you season it well, I don't think it'll be horrible.
Yeah, no.
And then it's still at least that instead of ground beef. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about that. I don't remember what it was.
About the
I think we've talked about it before. Have you? That dude on TikTok, Andy Glaze runs. He runs all the ultra marathons. Like, you have your phone too. You can look him up.
Maybe.
I think he's the dude that Tyler got his whole daily reminder to do hard things from. He literally runs like an ultra marathon every week or something like that.
I might know who he is.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, him. We can pop it up on screen too. He, I'm pretty sure the last time I was watching one of his TikToks, he's vegan.
Really?
Yeah, and he does like ultra marathons, like 250s through the desert, like Cocodona. He does like
is he a firefighter?
Yeah, he's also a firefighter. That's his day job.
He was just sitting in an ice bath and he goes.
Yeah, his primary profile is a lot of just ultra marathons, ice baths, and then yeah.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure the last TikTok I watched, he's a vegan, and he's running ultra marathons.
See, that's the thing is like that's what I'm like what I said earlier is I don't think you're missing out on anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a benefit that's larger than not, but I don't think that's proof.
Yeah.
It's proof. I mean, so like that game changers thing. I mean, so many you got people who are like gymnasts or Olympic lifters, or like I mean Arnold being as huge as he was. And then you got like F1 drivers, like all these different athletes who don't eat meat and they're very successful at what they do. And it's not like they became professional and decided to do that. They had been prior.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
I was saying, I don't want to like we said earlier, I don't want to be spouting all this stuff, like making anybody think about it or make anybody mad, because I'm still going to be eating meat. But I think it's definitely
me too.
Interesting to see, like, at least with your side, when you said you went vegetarian for a while, and then when you tried to eat red meat again, how sick you got. Like, at least having that evidence of people that have done it, and like you said, I'm gonna go home and watch. You guys can watch Game Changers on Netflix too.
I'm gonna go rewatch it as well. Probably gonna make that. After I watch it, that's why when I became
really.
So I feel like if I watch it again, I'll be like, oh shit, I kind of want to do that again.
I'll say and I might even look into it a little further as to after my meat, maybe cut out red meat, do ground chicken or ground turkey instead, and see how I feel. Because like even now, I used to do. So my breakfast was always the same. It's usually a couple eggs, some egg whites, whole wheat toast, and like a protein shake or just some peanut butter or something like that. And then lunches were always chicken, but my mid-afternoon snack or post-workout meal was usually ground beef. And recently I switched out the ground beef for another meal of chicken. And even that changed, like already kind of felt a whole lot better because it feels cleaner, it feels healthier, especially after a workout. You're putting down chicken and rice instead of beef. It's definitely less heavy.
That's what I think that's a big thing that I saw too from the Game Changers thing is they really honed in on like the red meat versus white meat, and there is a big difference. And like even if I eat red meat, but not a lot really, as much as I used to.
I'll eat it before bed, primarily, just kind of those extra fats and extra everything like that, overnight to try and help me recover a little bit. It's also unfortunate I can't do it like 3 or 4 meals a week, but that's beside the point.
Right.
We can get off the whole red meat conversation. I feel like we've been going in circles on that one. Talk about something more fun. I'm with my nutrition plan that I'm trying to follow, I'm only allowing myself 1 cheat meal a week. And we've talked about this a little bit before on previous podcasts, but it's funny to me because I have the mental capacity to force myself through a week because I know I have that one waiting for me. But if I allow myself one in the middle of the week, that entire week is almost a wash for me.
Right.
Like for some reason, if I allow it on like a Wednesday, I'll allow another one on like Friday night. And then my usual cheat meal is on Saturday night. I'll allow another one like Sunday morning.
The whole week's just gone.
It's just gone. And so I'm like, well, shit. So Monday morning, I'm back to okay, we're going to be good again, get to Saturday. And I think for me, what's helped is like understanding some of the foods that I'm craving that make those cravings really bad in the week. And I tell myself, okay, I'm just going to eat that on Saturday night. And that usually helps. Mm-hmm. Like, then I can get through the week and get to that Saturday. So like this week, God, I saw someone eating Buffalo Wild Wings last night, so that added to it. Yeah, I couldn't decide between pizza, wings, Mexican food, or sandwiches. Specifically sandwiches, though. I haven't had Bonwich in a while. I really want to go back.
Ever been to Bison Witches?
I have, yeah. Actually, when I started here, my interview was on the patio eating some nachos at Bison Witches. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wait. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Sorry, I'm all over the place. But yeah, I haven't had a sandwich there, but
I get their California Kid, which is it's turkey with cream cheese, avocado, and sprouts on a croissant.
Croissants are so good. Just flaky, buttery.
They are.
Folds and layers of dough. Yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, so I have a decision to make because now wings sound really good, but pizza also sounds really good beside of sandwiches.
Guess we'll just have to wait
I
till
know.
tomorrow.
Luckily,
or
it's
Sunday.
tomorrow, but I don't know what to do. Best of both worlds, go to Pizza Hut because Wing Street's always decent, I suppose. But
Now you just have everything.
I've done that before.
Go for it all.
I've done that before. There was someone here at the gym.
Pizza Hut has wings.
Yeah, I know. They're pretty good too.
Yeah.
I've been going to Wingstop lately because I got boneless wings from Wingstop one time, and I was not a fan.
I've never been there.
And then go for bone-in wings, not boneless.
Okay.
For some reason, the bone-in at Wingstop are much better than boneless. I don't know.
I feel like that's the usual case, but
I don't know.
I like boneless more, but I feel like you have more of a, I don't know, bone in, or just they're not breaded, and it's just like a more meat.
Yeah, that's fair. What was I gonna say? I don't remember.
I don't know.
All right. I don't remember at all. Anyway, so yeah, that'll be what I get to decide tomorrow. Gosh, it's been a long week. Are you tired? I'm tired. We're moving a little slow.
My week has been like, I haven't even done too much. That's like, when you like don't really do a lot, but you're like, you're so tired because you don't do anything.
Yeah, I would say. Wednesday, I had one of my staff members text me. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna have to miss a shift this week. Can I pick it up by working Wednesday?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And then yesterday, like I said, he couldn't work the night shift, so I worked the night, and he came in the morning again. So the last 2 days, I haven't come in till like 2 or 3. It's been weird, and
That's crazy.
I felt off.
Nuts.
I know.
I've literally been sleeping like way more than I should, like 12 hours or something. And it's because I'm like, oh, I don't really have much to do today, so then I just keep sleeping, and it's just annoying.
I think my biggest issue right now is with my fiance working 2 to 11. I don't mean to, but since we're moving to Omaha in a week,
right?
She got the job up in Omaha, so she wouldn't have to commute to Lincoln when we move up there.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I'm just awake because I'm worried about it. Worried about her driving back at 11 p.m.
Right.
So she tells me like it'll be fine. Like I'll call you if I have an issue, and I usually wake up. But she has other friends that are awake during that time, but I just can't. So I don't end up going to bed till
just a protective instinct.
Yeah. So I don't end up going to bed till she's home at like 11:45 or midnight. And I used to be in bed asleep by like 10:30. And so I
wish I could do that.
I used to be up by 7, no problem. And now I'm not going to bed till 11:30 midnight. So I'm not getting up until 8 o'clock, sometimes later. Like today, I think, woke up initially at 7, and then I rolled over, fell back to sleep till like 7:45. Then I looked at my phone, cleared all the notifications, and then I fell asleep again until like 8:30.
Huh.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, that's a problem.
I basically did the same thing. I went to bed around like 12 or like midnight and got up. I set my alarm for like 9. I got up. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then 9:30, no.
Yeah, I've never been one of those people that can really sleep in, I guess, until like I started prioritizing sleep more than just like getting up early, because like it always feels good to be up and moving, before 8 o'clock.
It does.
But at the same time, like for me, since I go to bed late, I'm like, well, I need to get enough sleep still. And so it's been getting easier. But even in high school, I was never one of those kids who could sleep in until 11. Couldn't do it to save my life.
I couldn't really do it either because I always had like that 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. class.
Yeah.
So I'd be up at 6:30 or 7 every day. So sleeping in until 8 o'clock on the weekends.
Yeah, I would say mine, even in college, I was in the Cornerstone Marching Band, and so rehearsal started at 7 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday. And if you were on the leadership team, which I was my last year in band, you had to be there basically at 6:30 nearly every day. And before a game, you had to since we have everything memorized, you had to make sure that the music was memorized. We called them mem checks. So you would do that on Wednesday. So the leadership team would do it on Wednesday to make sure we had it before we made our section do it on Thursday.
Right.
And then if anybody in our section didn't have it all memorized on Thursday, we had to come back on Friday and do it again. And usually on we had sectionals once a week, so that one also started at 6:30. And so if you're on the leadership team, you're at the stadium or doing something by 6:30 damn near every day. And it definitely, and since college football season is longer into November, going 4 months of getting up at
busy
5:30,
and going to school,
doing things right away is a bitch.
Dang.
And then I did it to
instrument did you play?
I played trumpet.
Nice.
Yeah. And I did it to myself. I wanted to not try out, it feels weird. I wanted to see if like the Army interested me. So I tried ROTC in college too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my second semester freshman year, my first semester sophomore year, I then added PT into the whole scenario. So I had to be at the military science building at a like latest of like 5:45.
You're an animal.
On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Jeez.
And so added that in, especially first semester sophomore year, added that in on top of marching band was interesting.
That's nuts. I mean, good on you for that.
I
pushed yourself.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like I'm still catching up on sleep that I lost during college, but aren't we all?
Right.
I'm saying my thing too, like I can't even say that I was going out and partying and having a good time. I was just getting up freaking early. So
hey, that's better than going out and partying.
Yeah, and it's really funny too because I didn't even enter my party stage until I met my best friend, and then we can go into it a little bit. Met him like, was it? It might have been right after COVID in 2020.
Yeah,
maybe 21. Either way, it was like August. And then he and I didn't really talk until like January-ish of 21. And then we went out together for the first time downtown like March. And then we started becoming closer and closer, and COVID and everything was a shit show. So I call it a trauma bond. And we used to drink way too much, go out way too late and party. Yeah. And so I didn't even hit my party stage until I was 22, 23. And that I don't know. To me, it's really funny because even in college, like there were plenty of parties in marching band.
I believe it.
Didn't go. So I didn't hit my party stage. So I was like 22, 23, and so I'm already behind the curve. And now I'm not even 25. The last time I had a few too many drinks, I had a 2-day hangover.
No.
I'm not too old yet, but I'm getting too old.
I hit it early, like my freshman year. I joined a fraternity my freshman year and was in like my freshman sophomore year. That was probably the most I did.
Mm-hmm.
Probably did more when I was not of age before.
Yeah.
But it was just so much. So then by the time like my senior year, and then like with track too, like peak track, I didn't do anything. But gosh, I'm like so over it now. Like I'm just definitely would rather just relax and chill.
Oh yeah, and like now, most I'll do is I'm not drinking until after my meet. That's beside the point. But like the most I did previously, and what I'll continue to do, is I'll have a glass or two of just bourbon, and then smoke a cigar, and that is all I do anymore.
Yeah.
When my best friend's in town, get a little rowdy because you have to.
Yep.
But I mean, and of course, as soon as Busch Light Peach is finally in stores,
where is that?
I don't know. I'm not gonna buy a case till after my meet, but I'm gonna buy a couple singles just to try it because I have to because I loved the apples.
My girlfriend was out in Gothenburg last weekend. Mm-hmm. They have it out there.
Did they
already?
What the hell?
Not here.
I'll say because I was what was it? It was a week or two ago. I was literally Googling, like, where's Busch Light peach? I found some random forum on Facebook or Google or something and said, we got it out here in, like, the eastern Midwest. Like, some people had it in Ohio and Illinois, and people down in Georgia had it. I'm like, all right, so is it working its way across,
out there.
or what's going on? Where's it at?
It's in Nebraska. It's just not. I don't know why it's not in Lincoln yet. Because I mean, maybe next week they get. I've talked to Russ's, talked to Super Saver, Hy-Vee. They all get their shipments on Wednesdays. So it didn't happen this week. So maybe next week.
And I'm trying to. I think I saw because I enter a couple of bourbon raffles. So Norm's on 48th. They posted a picture on their Facebook that like they had a pallet there, or
really
they had a sign. Oh, sorry, they had a sign that said "coming soon." I'm like, well, when is it? Because that was 2 weeks ago.
I was gonna say I sent you that post that I took a picture of at Russ's. I mean,
yeah,
that was like a month ago. It feels like.
Because I know Anheuser-Busch was gonna roll it out on June 1. I didn't think that meant it would be rolled out just slowly. Yeah. We're halfway through June now, and I haven't even had a beach yet.
Yeah, trying to sip on some beach.
I would say me and a buddy used to call the old ones Bapples, and so it only felt right that we called these beaches.
Beaches.
I love peach flavored stuff, peach and raspberry. I will if I have like. There's an option to get like a raspberry iced tea or a peach iced tea.
100%.
Always, 100%.
Every time.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
So yeah, I want to try frickin' Busch Light peach, but I haven't seen it yet.
I know.
So hopefully, because I do all my shopping at Hy-Vee, and I figure that shit's gonna be sold out as soon as they put it on the floor. That's the other issue.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to Canada on Tuesday Tuesday morning. Mm-hmm. So I'll be there on Tuesday, and they have different beers. The Canadian beer, which is like the equivalent would be like Kokanee or Labatt's. Those are their regular brands. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if they'll randomly have Busch Light peach.
I don't know. They might. Oh, so are those just like Canadian beers, light lagers? Or are they a little different?
So Labatt's, I would say that like Kokanee is like your Busch, and Busch Light, and then Labatt's is a little heavier. Just kind of like Budweiser or Busch Heavy.
Fair.
So it's kind of weird. They're just your typical like light beers. Mm-hmm. Kind of weird. There's Labatt, and then Labatt Blue, and then Kokanee, which you gotta get yourself some Kokanee sometime. Mm-hmm. They sell it here.
Oh,
it's very like you won't see it a lot, but they sell it here somewhere.
Fair. So speaking of, I've always wanted to try Yingling, just because I never have, and it's like one of the original beers.
It's so bad.
Really?
It's like, it's compared to everything else that's out here, yeah. There was, I'm not trying to strike a huge controversy, but I knew this family who were like huge Michelob Ultra. They love Michelob Ultra. They were having like a grad party or something, and all this stuff went down with Bud Light and the ad and everything, and so
don't need to get into that any further.
They didn't want to drink the Michelob Ultras anymore because it was
Anheuser-Busch
product, and so then they just had Yingling.
Jesus. Oh, I don't want to get into that because I'll go down a rabbit hole that we don't need to talk about.
No, we don't. I'm just saying. I just wanted to say that. That's all I wanted to say.
That's funny. People are ridiculous, throwing away their money just out of. Anyway, let's completely change topics. Because I've been exploring different forms of cardio because I get really bored walking on a treadmill, and so I like throw in stairs sometimes. That usually helps a little bit, but I started throwing in like circuits. So I'll start with like 15 minutes on the Stairmaster or 15 on an incline walk, but then I'll go into like a continuous circuit. The other day I did 10 minutes continuous of 10 calorie assault bike, 5 low box jumps, and 10 kettlebell swings. Oh my god, I wanted to die.
Sounds great.
I wanted to
I
die.
might have to try that.
I would recommend it. Even so, 10 minutes continuous. I think I got through like 6 rounds, 7 rounds.
Dang.
Because I was on like I think it was 6. I was on like a pretty good clip until I got to round 3, and like that bike sneaks up on you. I was just trying to get through my 10 calories. I get off and I'm like, that hurts.
Dang.
But yeah, and I usually either start on the treadmill or stairmaster and then do that circuit, or start with the circuit and end on the treadmill or stairmaster. And then it's kind of a cool down almost.
Yeah,
I'll
those
take it a
box
little
jumps
bit.
gotta be kind of brutal.
Yeah, they are.
Like getting up there after doing that.
I'll say that's why I usually keep it at like on the 20-inch box, or like I'll go up to a 24, just because I did that circuit. The first time I did that circuit, it was after the stairs. So I was already like tired, sweating. By round like 2 or 3, I missed the box already.
Dang.
So yeah, you gotta be careful because
box jumps are scary.
I started including them a while ago, just trying to work on explosive power. And yeah, when you miss and you have the fear of clipping your shin on the end of that box,
especially with those hard ones,
yeah,
the wood versus the soft box,
it kind of stops you entirely. Because I was working on my box jumps like legitimately for a while. I got up to a 38-inch box. I was doing a 3x3. I did first 2x3 fine. The last 3, I did the first one. Then on the second one, I clipped my shin. And so I backed up to try again. And then I just got so in my head. Every time I would run up to it, I would just jump and push up off the side. So I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's because that's the worst. When you fall on a box jump, after that, you just don't want to.
I was the kid that would take like a 40-inch box or the tallest one that we had, and I'd start putting plates on top of it.
Of course you were.
Going higher and higher.
Yeah.
Dude.
What was your standing, and then what was like your walk up or run up?
Well, they're not too much different, just because my standing's already pretty high. I want to say 55. Yeah.
What? Holy shit. That's only 13 inches less tall than me. It's a foot shorter than me just for standing box jump.
I want to say 55.
I'm going to stand up real quick. Like, this is going to be skewed on the camera, but like, that's my shoulder, basically, that you were just jumping to.
Yep.
All right, I guess.
I want to say 55, and I want to say maybe 60 for run up.
Holy fuck. All right. Fuck you. I guess that's what being an athlete gets you. But that's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to go test it out and see what I can do. I've always it's not even like that I really can jump that high. It's just I can really get my legs underneath me quick. That's why I'm like pretty good at cleans and like just being able to get my legs up.
Yeah, probably got some really good body control just from vaulting for so long too. Say, because my biggest thing, my biggest thing with like box jumps, and especially depth jumps, like working on those, like when you jump off the box and try and land. Usually when you try and land, you want to jump immediately after. Try and spend as little time on the ground as possible. Anyway, my biggest thing is I lack body control. Like if I jump from too high and I'm trying to land, my legs will flail a little bit. Like when I used to play ultimate frisbee, if I would just go up to snag one out of the air, my legs would just be kicking underneath me because I just didn't have the body control to just stay tight and normal.
Body control's huge. I mean, I did a ton of body control sports. I mean, with diving and the pole vault thing. I mean, it's all core, all body control, upper body.
Have we talked about that before? You dove in high school, right? Yeah.
I only did it for a year, so I decided my junior year. I was actually a bowler. I used to bowl in high school as well. So I did bowling, track.
Very, very talented, all over the place here.
I did bowling, track, and football, and then they changed bowling to a fall sport, so I couldn't do it during football season. So I needed a winter sport, so I decided to try diving my junior year. It was actually pretty decent. Ended up qualifying for state barely. I was last, I believe, 32nd
qualified though
to qualify, and then I got 19th.
You know what? You qualified and you were there.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
And then I never did it again.
Fair enough.
I coached diving the very next year. I was a lifeguard at Eden Pool, coached diving. Then after that, never dove again.
You sound like one of those guys who were just bored and just wanted to do sports because
you
didn't want to sit at home.
100%. And just to stay in shape. My parents say that like I get cranky when I'm not like in a sport or involved in something because then I just get like so in my head or just like bored.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. I say I started when I go home for dinner, since it's light so late still, after dinner I'll just take a walk. Otherwise I'll end up sitting on my couch in ADHD fueled like dysfunction, just staring at my TV, telling myself I need to do something. Yep. So I've been trying to get up after I eat, and I eat around 8, so it's still plenty light outside.
Yeah,
actually like a nice 10-minute, call it a digestion walk, but at the same time at least getting up.
I'm so glad it's light outside until like 9 now, because those early days of like in February or whenever daylight savings is, and it's just like dark at 5:30.
Yeah. I was saying, I hate that it gets dark at 5:30 in the winter. It just feels bad.
It's just depressing. It's the depression weather.
Yeah. Back to the cardio though. Other than like box jump, circuit, stuff like that, I also started doing. I was curious one day. I used to drag a tire, but tires weren't very heavy, and so I thought, what if I just dragged a sled? So I brought one of like our sleds out back on that gravel track back there. One lap around is a quarter mile. I grabbed a harness, a sled, just threw one plate on, walk a quarter, rest for like 30 seconds, walk a quarter, just get to a mile.
Dang.
And it's super easy. It gets your heart rate elevated but you don't feel like you're working that hard until you're like really in it. And then you're like, oh fuck, this hurts. It's super low impact and like it just, I don't know, it feels good.
Sleds are nuts. We used to do this thing called the Survivor Circuit. Someone's throwing up every time we do it, at least. There was, I think, 15 or 16 stations. There was 4 sleds total. 2 were push, and 2 were like running. One's heavier than the other. So like you'll have one light push that's like 30 yards, and then the heavy push is like 15 yards. Or something like that, and then you'd have like med ball throws. You'd have just like burpees with a plate, just in like back to back to back. Like I think you have a minute and a half. You get like a minute to do it, or a minute and a half to do it, and like how quick you finish is how much rest you get, and so. We do all of that once, and then we do it again. And then again. Did it 3 times. The last time we did it 3 times through. So brutal. And when I was like training to be, I mentioned this before, and I was training to be a multi, the warm-ups were like a workout. And you warm up for 30 to 45 minutes, and you're doing sprints, and you're doing build-ups, and you're doing all this stuff. It's like literally a workout.
Ugh. I remember when I was trying to do sprints instead, I thought it'd be smart because it was like you'd burn a lot really quick, but being, 220, 230, that's really high impact on my knees.
Brutal.
But anyway, yeah, so like I started after pulling a sled for a mile, that last mile, I would take it off, I would rest, get some water, take like 30 seconds, maybe 90 seconds at most, and then I would jog a quarter after that. Just try and loosen up because when you're pulling, your calves are getting tight, your hamstrings are tight and everything. So I'd try and jog a quarter. And last night especially, I found myself running my old race pace because like without having that weight, you just feel so light and you're just launching across this track. Because I looked at the song I was listening to. I had like a minute 40 left in the song. I'm like, can I finish a lap in a minute 40? I don't really think so, but let's fuck around and find out. Because that was my old race pace back when I was 50 pounds lighter, and 4 years ago, back when I could actually run 7-minute miles and under. And so I ran a quarter at my old race pace, and I got done and about threw up. But it's super nice too, because then you feel faster just pulling something heavier than your body weight for a mile, take it off, and you literally just feel, I don't know, almost weightless. It was super nice.
That's encouraging.
100%. And one of my old bosses, he was telling me he was in college, he got talked into doing a mile race. And he said, like, the way he trained, he literally put ankle weights and then a weighted vest on, and he would run his miles. Because they gave him, like, a month to prepare. And whoever won, I don't remember what the prize was, but whoever won got something. Or he was at a private college, maybe it was North Shores for a while, I don't remember. But yeah, he literally trained with a weighted vest and ankle weights on the whole time. And so when it came time to it, he took it all off. He said, yeah, I felt like, 20 pounds lighter. And so he said, I took off and I beat everybody by like a minute and a half.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, and then I started thinking about it last time. I'm like, so that makes sense then why, especially like a lot of runners and football, and actually a lot of athletes just run with a parachute or a sled or something like that.
Something to, pull them back.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just like they do drills with just like a bungee, like connect, someone's holding it and you're like running with them.
Yeah.
Saw a video that I think it was like the Lions or something, and like it snapped and they, like hit him in the back
saw that.
and he like falls and the teammates are just laughing.
Yeah. There was someone else here too. He was doing box jumps with a band around his hips. And so you had to generate a little bit more force to get up there. And then he said he would do like a couple sets with the band around and then take the band off, stack another like 6 inches, and then he said it felt like nothing because you don't have the extra weight pulling you back, so it's super easy.
That's cool.
So it's really funny to me because like I've known all these things, or like I've seen people doing them and never put 2 and 2 together until I do it. I don't know.
Well, it's like baseball players too, when they swing like 2-3 bats or whatever, and then they just swing one, or they have a weight on the end and they take it off.
Mm-hmm.
Make it easier.
I'll say I don't know, because I'm 24 and I've obviously seen all these things. I mean, I know why people do it, or I thought I knew why, and then I do it, and suddenly I'm talking about it like it's this brand new thing. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's cool.
I ran out of topics on what I wrote down, so I didn't know if you had anything left today.
I don't really have much. I think we've been talking about a lot. I will say one thing that we were talking about meal prep kind of earlier, which I feel like we talk about that every podcast, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean we're at a pretty bodybuilding, powerlifting heavy gym. It's normal. It's fine.
Caffeine, carbs, and kilos. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I saw this video of this guy who meal preps
Yeah.
4 months out.
Holy fuck! What?
Yeah, he'll go and buy 4 months worth of meal prep stuff, and he will meal prep 4 months worth. So he's like an ultra marathoner, and he'll make it all of his rice that is basically like has a bunch of like veggies and stuff like in his rice. He'll put that in like a tote, like one of those. Mm-hmm. Just mix it all in there in like a clean tote, and then pack it. Yeah.
All right. I would really hope he freezes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I either way, even frozen, I don't know if I could eat 4-month-old rice.
So the thing that is, I think it was more, I don't know if he makes all of his meals like 4 months out, but I think he just goes and gets 4 months worth of groceries. And then maybe he just does that for a month's worth. Because he said that a lot of stuff he doesn't actually cook that day or whatever. So yeah, I don't know if I could 4-month-old something that's frozen.
Even I mean, it's frozen, so it's not like it still just wouldn't be as good as like a week fresh. Because even at the end of a week, I do not want to eat my rice at all. Because
he would just, I think it might have been a month. Because, well, I don't know. He showed it in like a huge, actually, I think I saved it.
So if you did, you can throw that one up, and then we can throw up the profile of that dude we were talking about earlier, the ultra marathoner.
Yep.
People think I'm crazy for doing this, and maybe rightly so, but I've had a bunch of requests from friends and colleagues interested in seeing how I meal prep for 4 months at a time in a super healthy, cost and time efficient way that's helped me stay on track with nutrition while training for Ironmans, marathons during a medical and surgical career. I go to the store every 4 months, buy 30 pounds of chicken, 30 dozen eggs, 10-pound sack of rice, a couple sacks of sweet potatoes, a bunch of beans, an entire shopping cart full of frozen veggies, olive oil, salt, and pepper. I go home, cook the rice. I like to use a pressure cooker, a little faster. Make sure to keep all your surfaces clean. I boil the chicken so it's impossible to burn. Bake the sweet potatoes, fry the eggs. While those are cooking, throw everything else into a big bin. You don't have to cook the majority of it. Drain the beans, toss those straight in along with everything else. Cut up the chicken and the sweet potato. Again, make sure to wash your hands a lot. Toss in the olive oil, salt, pepper, mix it all up. Start putting them into these dishwasher safe, microwave safe, meal size Tupperwares. Stack them up, toss them in the freezer, and you're done. You've got 4 months of meal prep to enjoy.
What the hell? Yeah, you gotta throw that one up on the.
Isn't that crazy?
Jesus,
Anyways,
that's nuts.
That's the last thing I was gonna say.
Okay. Say. I don't have anything else. Cool.
Yeah.
Episode, I think 6. We didn't record last week. Had a bunch of other stuff going on, but I don't know how many people watch us religiously, so I don't think they really
Right.
noticed. We still need to work on on Spotify. I've been thinking about doing that. I just keep getting distracted every time I go to log in and figure out how. I just don't. So we'll actually hopefully have it on Spotify here soon enough. Even if it's recorded this way, upload to YouTube, download the audio file, upload
Easy.
to Spotify, whatever's gonna work. I'll help make him do it anyway.
Yep, I got
That's
it.
what you're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna be? You won't be here next week, so if I record a podcast, I might just do it with Matt, or
Yeah, do it with
Something
Matt
like
and
that.
just upload it, or you can upload it and then, you could trim it on your phone and then upload it. That'll probably be the easiest.
I'll say it's just difficult when it gets really long. Just like getting to the exact second using Apple's little
Not ideal. You could also upload it onto YouTube private.
Yeah, and that's
trim
what
it, and then make it public.
I've ended up doing, and hopefully this time uploads a little faster. But anyway, like I said, episode 6, caffeine, carbs, and kilos. Bye.
Later.